talk tracks. There's a bunch of components here. I can do an entire 5-day workshop on talk tracks if we were going to actually break it down and you were going to write them. But here's what you need to know. Number one, opening statements need to be written ahead of time. You need to know what you're going to say. When Tracy Higginbotham says you have one sentence to describe what your business is to all of the women in this room, write it. Know it. Practice it. The opening statement needs to be written from the perspective of your prospect. How will they hear you? What do they need to hear? It's the value you bring, not what you do. Back to our 2 hypothetical accountants. Someone who does taxes has a different value that they're bringing to someone who is going to be inside your business all year long, making sure things are right. Right? The value they bring is different. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not really good at saying what those are, but to my restaurants in Lake Placid, stop in and have the most beautiful meal you will have the entire vacation and make a memory with your family is very different than Origins Coffee saying, stop by, we'd love to see you tomorrow. The value is different. What do they get by coming to you? And if you don't know, ask your customers. Okay, salespeople don't even like to do this, so if you just felt like heart palpitations, it's okay. But why do you buy from me is one of the most powerful questions you can ask. And if you're really brave, why do you buy from me and not insert your biggest competitor here? Opening statements, questions. I am a firm believer that you have to write out questions or they end up being yes and no, and they're boring and frustrating to the person you're asking. If you want to know how frustrating yes or no questions can be, buy the game Headbands and play it, or Heads Up if you're a phone person. Same game, different technology. You have to guess what you are. Yes or no. Very frustrating. Write out the questions. Write out questions that are going to make people think. Handling objections. Write it out. Go to my website. Email me, whatever you want to do. I have a little one-pager on acknowledge you've heard them, tell a story, ask a question. That's my not really patent pending objection handling technique. I'll email you a little blurb about it if you would like it. Just email me, stop by. And also closing for the next step. What's the logical first thing someone needs to do in order to buy from you? She needs to know I exist and find me. But what action do I need, right? So figure out what action your existing customers took and how they found you, and make sure you're there more. And then what's the next step? Once I reach out to you, or once you have a conversation with me, what is the logical next thing we do together? Because my entire first conversation is about getting to the next one. I almost put a picture of George Clooney, but then I realized none of you would listen to me, so I didn't. It is possible for me to make a bad movie out of a good script, but I can't make a good movie from a bad script. The same is true from a sales call perspective. You can still have a bad sales call, even though you had a good script. You cannot have a good sales call if you don't have a script.